Dear learners, today's MOOC will be on social work practice with communities. Unit Understanding Community. So we will discuss the concept of community. In general, community is an aggregation of people or a group of people or group of families confined to a geographical area or a locality for a common purpose, having commonness, interdependence, a shared way of life and relationship on a continuous basis or permanently. It is often regarded as natural groupings based on ties of shared blood, language, history, territory, and above all, culture. Concept of community has played a major role in the development of social thought on Indian society, and it continues to be employed widely within the social sciences. A few definitions of community are presented here to get a broader understanding of the concept. Aristotle first defined the word community as a group of established by men having shared values. McIver defined community is an aggregation of families and individuals settled in a fairly compact and contiguous geographical area with significant elements of common life as shown by manners, customs, traditions, and modes of speech. Another way of looking at community is from the sociological construct associated with Tönnies, Gemeinschaft, and Gesellschaft. According to him, communities are members accepted as they are, and the relationship is informal, personal, and face to face. Bonds are built based on blood, territory, culture, language, etc. For example, families and other smaller groups. Gesellschaft identifies that communities differ by being formal, laws and rules exist to exercise social control, and importance is given to individuals' interests than that of the group. Newby has defined community in three ways that provides a comprehensive understanding of the term. First, as a social system, second, as a fixed locality, and third, as the quality of relationships. So let's look into the elements of community. Community is a collection of people or a group of people living in a geographical area on a permanent basis for a common purpose, interacting and sharing. The first one is locality. A group of people forms community only when it begins to reside in a definite locality. In other words, locality is the physical basis of community. Living together facilitates people to develop social contacts, gives protection, safety and security. It helps the members to promote and fulfill their common goals. Physical conditions of a particular locality to a great extent influence social life. Most communities settle in a locality derive a strong bond of solidarity to that part. Locality continues to be a basic factor of community life. However, in the modern times, the local bond of community is weakened to some extent due to cultural transfusion. Number 2. Community sentiment. Community sentiment means a feeling of belonging together. The members develop a we feeling. The sense of community has four components: membership, influence, fulfillment of needs, and emotional connection. The sense of community is a key characteristic of successful communities. Successful meaning active, engaged communities that people want to visit and where members contribute on a regular basis. Number 3 is stability. A community must possess the character of stability, which means a permanent group life in a definite place. Number 4, regulation of relations. Every community develops in course of time a system of traditions, customs, morals, practices, a bundle of rules and regulations to regulate the relations of its members. 5. Naturalness. Communities are formed in a natural way. They are not deliberately created. They are not made or created by an act of will or by planned efforts. Individuals become its members by birth itself. Hence, membership is not voluntary. Communities are spontaneous in their origin and development. Types of community. Community is commonly divided into two general types, rural and urban, based on inhabiting area of population. However, a definite criterion to define them is not available. Moreover, there is another type, that is tribal community, which we shall also discuss in this unit, as the all states of Northeast India region is habitat of different tribes. The different types of community could be identified based on certain components like area, occupational class, and religion. According to Sorokin and Zimmerman, the factors that distinguish rural from urban communities include occupation, size, and density of population, as well as mobility. First one is rural community. All early communities were basically rural in character. Social life of man has undergone different stages of development. Every human communities were loosely organized. There were few families who had mutually interdependent activities in gathering food and defending themselves against their enemies. Gradually, man acquired skill and knowledge in agriculture and brought about development in agrarian life. Human communities therefore become permanent and were known as village communities. According to Kropotkin, we do not know one single human race of single nation which has not had its period of village communities. Village is considered as the basic and the smallest area of human habitation. Bogardas said human society has been cradled in the rural group. Rural sociologist Dwight Sanderson stated that the rural community consists of people living on dispersed farmsteads and in a hamlet or a village which forms the center of their common activities. Characteristics of rural communities. Rural communities are largely homogeneous. They are united and similar in their thinking, behaving, dressing, action, and living. Village community is regarded as a primary group where face-to-face relations among people are maintained. The relationships are informal, personal, and inclusive. Social control is done informally through customs, tradition, groups, standards, which exercise moral or social pressure. The panchayats now play an important role in controlling the behavior of people in villages. Occupation is predominantly agriculture. Different crafts like pottery, basket making, spinning, weaving, carpentry, etc. is seen, and there's less division of labor and specialization. Technology used is still simple, and industrialization is slowly bringing about the changes. Life is around the institution of family where there is cohesive relationship and more of a joint family setup. They are highly conservative and traditional where attitudes and behavior are dictated by traditions. They are not ready for sudden change and they cling to their age-old practices and traditions. Caste system is one of the most important social structure related to rural community, where caste and village endogamy is strictly practiced. Urban community. Urban community denotes a city. History of every civilization has the history of its cities and towns, not of its countryside. Man originally built a city and the city in turn civilized man. Hence, city is the product of man and his own environment. Urban sociologist Woolston defined the city as limited geographical area inhabited by largely and closely settled population having common interests and institutions under a local government authorized by the state. Louis Ward defined a city according to sociological purposes as a relatively large, dense and permanent settlement of socially heterogeneous individuals. The following criteria needs to be met to classify a place as urban area. Number 1. Places having a municipal corporation, municipality, notified area community and cantonment board. Now let us discuss characteristics of urban communities. Number 1. Heterogeneity. Urban communities are complex and of manifold, characterized by diversity. According to Louis Ward, the greater the number of individuals participating in a process of interaction, the greater the potential differentiation between them. Number 2. Secondary relation. It is a secondary group. Face-to-face, friendly or intimate relation may not be observed among people. Even neighbors appear to be strangers to one another. Number 3. Secondary control. Controlling social behavior becomes difficult in cities as it is not regulated by customs and traditions like in rural community. Specialized agencies like law, police, court, etc. are needed. Number 4. Social mobility. Movement of people from one social status to another is seen based on people's achievements and accomplishments in life. Number 5. Unstable family. Families are not firmly organized and does not have much control over the members. Strained relationships are also observed. Number 6. Spatial segregation. Urban communities are overcrowded. Functional segregation is seen where one kind of occupational group of people live together. Number 7. Push and pull factors associated with city life. City attracts people and the problems in the villages related to economic aspects push people to desert the rural life and move to the city. Now we will discuss about the tribal community. Tribe is a large group of people that is distinguished from other groups mainly through its population density and its greater sedentary lifestyle. Indian tribes constitute nearly 8.14% of the total population of the country and live in approximately 15% of the country's geographical area that is rich with natural resources. These tribal communities are spread in different regions of the country. Northeast India tribes constitute a major part of the Indian tribal community and largely scattered over all the 8 states of Northeast. A simple definition of a tribe according to Dubé, the tribe generally refers to territorial communities living in relative isolation of hills and forests. The criterion laid down by Kelkar Committee for specification of a community as scheduled tribes are indications of primitive traits, distinctive culture, and geographical isolation, signs of contact with the community at large and backwardness. Scheduled tribes (ST) is the administrative term used for purposes of administering certain specific constitutional privileges, protection, and benefits for sections of people considered historically disadvantaged and backward. Characteristics of tribal communities. Number 1 is homogeneity. Possess mutual unity, common language, conscious of its homogeneous ethnic identity, believe they have descended from a common real or mythical ancestor. Kinship bonds may play an important role here. Number 2. Culture can be separately marked. Through their festival, customs, dances, and other social occasions that are observed by these tribal groups, each of the tribes can be categorized separately by the dress they wear, the jewelry, and the dance they perform. Ceremonies and rituals are given importance. Each tribe has its own language. Number 3. Self-sufficiency. Occupation is predominantly agriculture, jhum cultivation, and they also depend on weaving, rearing of animals. 4. Leadership. Tribal chief is the leader of a tribal society. They represent their tribe or ethnicity in the form of self-government. Tribal leadership is organized by the clan system. Structure and function of community. Physical structure. Every community has its own physical structure or features. As territorial physical boundaries are very distinct, community workers need to be observant to this structure that reveal the dynamics of the community. The location of the specific groups and the resources and those who have easy and free access to them conveys a lot about the community and its dynamics. Segregation of certain groups like migrants, those who belong to a lower caste, is present in the outskirts or further end of the community and not in its central place. The town or city has units like family, households, occupation, etc. There is a system or pattern into which these units are fitted. Even the smallest village had rudimentary structures, the simple and the basic ones essential for village life, like the location of church, store, and the roads, communication or transportation. Social structure. Community can be viewed as a social system. According to general system theory, system comprises of different components that interact and relate to one another in an orderly, functional manner. There is a framework by which these systems are interconnected and are constantly relating to one another. In that way, an individual being part of a family is connected with the kinship group that exists in the community and all other social structures like the workplace, educational institution, religious group, etc. The constant communication and interaction between these social groups within the community defines the social structure of the community. The dynamics of this relationship may vary from community to community, but it presents in all communities. Power structure in community. Power structure are present in every community and it differs from one community to another. It can also be called the power center where power is accumulated in a person or in a constituency. A power pyramid can be there in each community, which depicts the power center at the top of the pyramid. This power center can influence the community to a large extent. Many sources of power can be seen in communities, such as those holding political positions in the panchayats, mahila mandals, possessions of money and land, etc. Functions of a community. The system and the subsystem that constitute a community perform specialized function to meet the needs of the community through coordinated and integrated activities that take place between them. Number one is production, distribution and consumption. The community provides its members with the means to make a living. Opportunities should be available in the community, be it agriculture, industry or other services, to generate economy and provide for its members. Number two is socialization. The means by which norms and values can be installed in the members is through socialization pattern that exists in the community, which may be through informal traditional methods or for formal education. Number three, social control. Formal laws and systems and norms exerted by the local or indigenous groups enforce the community to adhere to the values. Number four, social participation. The neighborhood, religious groups, youth groups, business, etc. provide opportunities for community to participate in social life. Number five, mutual support. Through the community, the members are able to mutually support one another and cooperate to achieve any task in an united manner. Deconstruction of community. Deconstruction, according to Derrida, is about critical reflection or reconstruction of community development. It is about reflecting on the programs if they are focused on ensuring justice. De- and reconstruction has been debated and discussed for a long time. The thrust of community organization is on working with the marginalized section of society, the poor, those discriminated based on caste, gender, etc. Reconstruction takes on the critical theory approach, more of a reformist or radical views. Focus is on liberatory approach where the roots of marginalization are deconstructed. It is a constant reforming process. India has witnessed a lot of these issues prevalent in communities. For generations, people have been marginalized, oppressed, and discriminated because of their caste, race, gender, and sexual orientation. The emphasis on deconstruction of communities is to examine these practices which have been embedded in the social systems and fabric of our communities. There can be interesting factors like being a woman from a Dalit background who is also poor. In such situations, she can face multiple forms of oppression and atrocities due to her gender and status at the bottom of her caste and class hierarchy. So now let's discuss community power structure. Power structure influences the development of a community. In community organization, power refers to the ability to influence members to act upon the community goals. Community power is directly related to community organization. Power structure of the community varies according to the community. Floyd Hunter explains the nature of power and power structure. Power appears in numerous forms and in variety of combination. Power flows from many sources. Example, money, prestige, charisma, access to rewards, position, titles, verbal skills, monopoly of essential resources, media, etc. In the community, power is distributed. People with power make crucial decisions in the community, whereas others are active in implementing such decisions. It is very important for the community worker to initially study the power structure in the community in order to practice community organization effectively. Community organizer should be able to analyze the power distribution in the local community before planning any practice or intervention. A complete understanding of the power dynamics in the community as to where the power is centered and who can influence the member should be analyzed, known as power structure analysis. There are two models of community power structure, the stratification model and the pluralist model. The stratification model suggests that social class principally determines the distribution of community power. According to this model, the power structure in community is composed of stable upper class elite whose interest and outlook on community affairs are relatively homogeneous. According to pluralist model, there are numerous small special interest groups that cut across class lines which are represented in the community decision making. Community decisions are the result of interaction of these different interest groups. Another way of identifying the power structure in the community is to look for members who hold high position of office as they derive respect and hence they can influence members. Floyd Hunter talks about the reputation approach of locating community elites. The basic procedure is to ask a group of informants who are knowledgeable about the community to list the people they believe to be the most influential in community affairs. By telling those people most frequently named as influential leaders, we can identify the core of community power structure. Position approach is another method which assumes that people holding the highest office in the community are at the top of the power structure. Other leaders can be based on their designation like teachers, village health workers, doctors, heads of local NGOs, and block officials comprise this category of leaders or power holders. Communities are seen as centers of power and conflict, as there is always conflict over power and control of limited resources, and here we see politics at the forefront of issues related to power. Thank you.